Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, otherwise known as Pin. Today we're going to take a look at Avengers, and one in particular, the Avenger Stalker. Now the reason why I picked one up is because I don't have a dedicated bounty hunting ship in my fleet. I could have gone with the Hawk. The Hawk is amazing, but there's something about the Avengers pedigree that kind of swung it for me. Now I could of course gone for a Cutlass Blue. But again, that ship doesn't have the pedigree. That ship sort of came around because Drake are trying desperately to shed their affiliation with piracy. Hence why we got the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red as a sort of hand-me-down effect of what they were trying to disparage from their ships and their relationship with piracy. The Avenger, however, has a fairly illustrious history. It was a spacecraft that was used by the UEE on carriers. It has scored multiple space-to-space victories. It used to be used as a police craft and still is in certain areas. So it has a lot of pedigree. It's old, it's rugged, it's weathered, it's proven the tests of time. Not to mention, it does obviously pack quite a serious punch. But it's more sort of the pedigree that helps swing it for me. I like the history of this particular brand of ship. So the Avenger Stalker is the one I ended up adding to my fleet, and I've got to tell you, I've been really impressed with it. Because of its unique shape and those wings, this ship is beautiful to handle in atmosphere. It's very nice. It's a very nice ship and has a lot going for it. So that's sort of my reasoning behind why I picked the Avenger Stalker. So let's talk about some of its history in a brief little passage you can find on the RSI website. Avenger. The Avenger began its life serving dutifully as the premier frontline carrier plane of the late 28th century. Avengers racked up a number of impressive space-to-space victories in that era, but were ultimately supplanted by more maneuverable designs like the Hornet. With space combat focusing more on skilled maneuvering than pure weapon storage, the Avenger fell out of active duty with the military and was repurposed as the standard ship for the advocacy and local law enforcement. Today, the military will use Avengers as trainers. The two-seat variant is a forgiving first spacecraft for new pilots. The current civilian model Avenger is marked towards bounty hunters, with the second seat removed for direct access to the hold. Munition storage has also been replaced with traditional cargo hooks, and perhaps the most importantly, the standard exterior flight line ladder entry system has been replaced with an internalized solution that allows the pilot to more easily maintain control of access and egress. Okay, so the ship has quite a illustrious history, quite the pedigree. So we'll go over quickly some of its stats. It's a one-man crew ship. The Stalker will have 6 containment cells in the back for all of your naughty pirates that you've locked up, and you do want to lock them up because you will get more money. Better to bring them back alive than as a corpse. This ship will cost you 882,200 Alpha UEC in game, and specifications wise, we have a length of 22.5 meters, a beam of 16.5, a height of 5.5, combat speed is 184 meters per second, and a max speed of 1,307. It weighs roughly 50,000 kilograms, and it was introduced in 2760, which is 192 years ago, or longer depending on when exactly you are watching this video. So it's a very illustrious ship. I like the look of it. It looks really cool. Now, despite my best efforts, I could not find the source material regarding modularity. Now, I'm absolutely certain that at some point I either came across a video on Star Citizen or I read it somewhere that these ships are in fact going to be modular, which is great, because what that means is if you own any one of these ships, that at some point we should be able to swap out the internals for whatever particular role. So if I wanted to remove my prisoner cells, I could and have the cargo space, or if I didn't want the cargo space, I could import the EMP device into the back of the ship. I haven't heard anything since I read that source material, so I don't know if that's still a thing or if that has been officially declined. If you know, guys, let me know, because it's driving me crazy. I just cannot find where I read that, but hey ho, I've got that in my head somewhere. So if that is a thing, and I hope it is, this ship will be very utilitarian in the future with your ability to swap the various cargo regions in and out I could see that being extremely useful. So fingers crossed they go with that. But yeah, otherwise, the Avenger Stalker I'm very pleased with. I'm very looking forward to trying to apprehend suspects and have them captive on my ship to bring back that bank. So could be very interesting indeed. Now, I do like the look of the Avengers. They do look really cool. They kind of remind me of a Cobra with its nape. That's the kind of poise that the front of the ship reminds me of. You know, the way that you see a Cobra snake with its nape flaring, like ready to strike. That's the kind of vibe I get aesthetically from the Avenger series of ships, and I do think they look really cool. It's also nice that they have very good atmosphere handling capabilities, because like I said, when we capture our live targets and hold them in the cell, they're not always going to be in space. They're going to be planet side, and you're going to need a ship that is nimble and superior in atmosphere. Now, that is probably another one of the pros that convinced me to get this ship rather than the Cutlass Blue. Just for that extra added maneuverability in atmosphere is going to make apprehending those targets a lot easier than it would be in a Cutlass Blue. The only thing that makes me jealous of the Cutlass Blue is I don't get the Ninars, because they are awesome, and the Cutlass Blue is an awesome ship, but I think there are a few things that tipped it for me. It was the pedigree of this particular vessel, and the fact that, you know, these used to be ex-police craft, and that ability to hunt your targets, track them down, capture or kill in atmosphere is going to be very important to your career as a bounty hunter, beginner or veteran, I would have thought. So there is a lot going for it. In terms of just stock components, I haven't had the chance to change anything yet. I more than likely will when I do some more research into what sort of loadout I want to run to this ship. I will more than likely do that the closer we get to improved bounty hunting missions, and let CIG refine that game loop a little bit before I make an informed decision. Ship balancing is always changing, so what might be good today might not necessarily be the key to the future. But I would almost certainly consider running scatterguns and distortions. We will see how the bounty hunting future ends up playing out. Until we get more information, I think I'll just hold off and leave it stock at the moment, because I'm still very happy with how it handles, and it's got more than adequate firepower, even with a gimbaled loadout, which I have fitted now. As you can see, the cockpit is very simple, very nice bubble canopy, everything's easy to read, it's crystal clear. What's really nice though is they actively said, you know, we want this ship to be weathered, old, it's seen better days, because again, that goes back to its pedigree. It is an old ship, it's proven itself, it's a warhorse, and you'll notice that there's various scratches and worn parts in the cockpit, and I like that. It's character building for the ship. In terms of the cockpit itself, it's very tightly packed in here, as you would expect, but you won't be complaining. The canopy itself sort of wraps around the pilot. You have excellent visibility. Except for your 6 o'clock, obviously that is taken up by the ship's hull. Everything else is fairly decent. So there is a lot going for this ship. The only thing I decided to change was, of course, the paint scheme that you can see now. I don't like the bright white look of the Avenger. I don't know why. I just don't think it suits the shape of this particular vessel. You know, it doesn't sit right with me. So I slapped a paint on there just to make it look a little bit cooler, because I just don't think white is the right colour for that ship. I don't know why. I just think black, a jet black, would have been a better colour for it than white, maybe. I don't know. I just know it didn't sit right with me. But otherwise, very impressive ship, very easy to control. Again, if you're a new player or you have a friend looking to get into the verse and you both want to do bounty hunting, then I would probably recommend this ship as your first dedicated bounty hunting ship. You just won't be able to carry cargo in it. Of course, you can still do box delivery missions and whatever else there are. Bunker missions makes a good daily driver. There's no reason why you couldn't do those. But if you are invested or want to invest in the future of bounty hunting, then this ship in the future, as the game loop develops, will almost certainly become essential, I would have thought. In terms of firepower then, as you can see, on the nose, that's the size 3 gimbaled Mantis, and we have 2 size 2 gimbaled laser cannons. Gimbaled give you excellent advantages. It gives you more firepower to put on target. The downside is, of course, less punch. I will probably go for fixed size 3s on the wings and a fixed size 4 on the nose. But again, I will have to look into it to make sure that I get the right loadout for me and my particular bounty hunting missions. I don't want to load the ship with things that I don't think are going to help me achieve that goal of capturing people alive. Ideally, I would like to land, maybe dogfight on the atmosphere, disable the enemy ship, get out, taser him, handcuff him, drag him back to my ship, throw him in the cells and throw away the key, and then go deliver that guy to whoever is asking for his head and get banked. That's the game loop I want now. Bounty hunting at the moment is awesome, kind of, but it will be even better when they redo KSG, and there's going to be a lot of dogfighting at that particular space station, so I'm looking forward to that. I think the Titan would be great to go there and capture your targets who are trying to hack the terminal unawares, maybe creep up behind them with a garrote or something and just tie them up, and before you know it, you're hauling them off in your Avenger. So there's a lot of excitement coming for bounty hunting. It can only get better, right? And the ability to capture your targets alive, I think, is going to be so much fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay guys, let's now take a look inside the interior of the ship and take a look at these holding cells, and we'll discuss why they're there, because it is kind of interesting. The Stalker is a variant of the Avenger patrol ship developed by Aegis Dynamics. When the standard Avenger fighter failed to connect with military users, Aegis adapted it as a police spacecraft with the addition of the Stalker prisoner transport module, a system of cell and restraints that allowed safe prisoner transport. These changes also attracted bounty hunters to purchase the ship, in need of methods by which to bring their targets alive. Although the Stalker was the first variant of the Avenger developed, its popularity eclipsed that of its parent model, leading many to incorrectly assume it was the original Avenger type. So that's some info there on the sort of variants and the prisoner holding module that you can find on the Stalker. Kind of interesting, very popular among the verse, as loads of bounty hunters were buying this ship and going about their business, which is really, really cool. So you can see there are 6 prisoner holding cells there. That's quite a lot of money. Let's say you get 20,000 for a dead bounty, and a live one, let's double it, 50,000 times 6. That's not too shabby in your little Avenger Stalker. It does also have a bed, which is extremely useful for bed logging in and out of the game and just not having to land at a spaceport 24/7. It's a great time saver, it's very useful, it has its pros and cons. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but it's good to have this bed in the ship as well. So that was another plus in the tick box for me. It's fairly cramped in here, but you can see the ship is sort of split into 3 compartments. We have the cockpit at the front, we have the bed area, and then of course the prisoner cell at the back. There's various components in and around the ship. It does need its gold standard pass, where I think we're going to get a lot more access to some of these panels. I can't open some of them, which is frustrating, but the components are located within the ship, so that is a good plus as well. That means you never have to risk yourself going outside. Right, let's talk about weapons and components. Okay, so here we are in our vehicle loadout manager, and we're going to start with the 2 coolers that we get. They're size 1 grade 3 military type from Aegis Dynamics, so we get 2 of those. And then we'll move to the power plant here, which is a power bolt. This is a size 1 grade 3 civilian from Lightning Power Limited. I more than likely will have to change that if I go for all distortions or scatterguns. We'll see. The Q2 drive is an Expedition. This is a size 1 grade 3 class civilian. I will almost certainly switch that out for an Atlas to get the extended range. And the 2 shield generators that we have are size 1 grade 3, but they're actually stealth shield generators, which is interesting because when stealth works in the future, because it doesn't quite work properly now, that could be very useful for helping you get a little bit closer to your target without being detected. Although I think the ship's cross section really does give it away with those enormous wings. So in terms of weapons, we get a Tempest 2 missile, which is, we get 2 of these, size 2 grade 1. It's a cross section target tracking missile, so the bigger the ship the easier to lock on. And then we get 2 Ignite 2 missiles. So these are infrared heat seeking missiles, and they are from Firestorm Kinetics size 2. So we get 4 missiles in total. Then we get, as you can see, we've got the gimbals on here, and under the wings we get the Omnisky laser cannon, size 2 grade 1. I'm really enjoying laser cannons at the moment. You can have a really good time with laser cannons. They're in a good place, I feel. And then we have the gimbal on the nose with a gimbaled size 3 Mantis pumping out a fair substantial amount of DPS. I would probably swap this out for a size 4 single shot cannon, believe it or not, and then maybe have the 2 distortion repeaters under the wings. There's a lot to play around with here, and I'm looking forward to sort of tweaking this to its bounty hunting potential. So this is what the ship looks like. White. I don't quite like the white. It just doesn't sit right all night. I'm a poet and didn't even realise that I was. Okay, so I just don't like the white. I don't know why, I just don't. So that's the basic ship components. So what we'll do now, guys, is move on to our ship walk around. Okay, so we've been fairly impressed with this ship so far. Now, originally, this ship was smaller, and they decided to make it bigger. So they upscaled the size of this ship because they just felt it was too tight and it was causing problems. So it's actually had a facelift, and it is a much bigger ship than it previously was when it was released or during the design phase. So it's grown in size. Really like the front of this ship. Again, it does look like a Cobra with that nape sort of running behind the cockpit and the canopy. It's really cool. It also has elements of the space shuttle, sort of heat shields that run down the wings. We have some air scoops, fuel scoops. We have our 2 missiles located under the wings. We have our laser cannon gimbaled. Tricycle landing gear, to be expected. It's a very common ship design. There's and then just these LEDs running the wingtips, which is a nice touch. Looks really cool. Some more LEDs pointing at the Aegis Dynamics logo on there, which is also a nice touch. Singular engine at the back, very reminiscent of the Origin 300 series. They share a lot of similarities in terms of how they look. They're not identical, of course they're not, but they do share the same sort of shape, I feel. Again, more LEDs around the back. We have various maneuvering thrusters located in and around the vessel. That sort of black, stealthy, carbon look. Again, they just look very heat shieldish from the space shuttle, in my opinion, but a very cool looking ship. Some more underwing lights. Now, the lights on the Avenger are actually fairly decent. There are some ships where they're god awful. These ones are actually good, and you can actually use them to see in the dark, because we don't have night vision yet. 1,000 years in the future, apparently. So hopefully that gets fixed, but as it stands, it does have a very good lighting system. I'm very happy with the lights. The Origin 315p that I own has horrific lights. It is horrible flying that ship at night. Okay, so that's the external. It looks really good. Let's now go in through the back. And take a look around. So we go up the ramp, and you'll notice that we have some various control panels here. I'm not sure what they're going to be used for. I imagine it would be maybe life support for your prisoners. I'd like to think so. We have various storage bins. These don't seem to open at the moment. Again, we need the gold standard pass on these variants of ships. Then we have our prisoner cells, and we open them up. You can stand in here, like so. There is not a lot of room here. I would argue that's borderline inhumane. You know, look at that. That is super tight. You would not want to be locked up in here for long periods of time. That's for sure. Yeah, I could not. So you can see we get 6 potential victims to lock up here. So that's really cool. I am interested to know how this ship will support life support, basically. Will it be able to manage all of these people? Because you can, in theory, you could carry friends around. You could do rescue missions in this ship, right? You could just put someone in the holding cell, or they can sit on the bed, lie on the bed, whatever it is. To get people in and around the verse, you could do that, I guess. I can't see a reason why not. We have some components located above the bed there, as you can see. But it's not a luxurious ship, right? You're not going to find the comfort that you'll find in an Origin. This is a basic design ship. It's built with functionality in mind. It's got the proven combat record. It's a very impressive, illustrious record. But look at this engineering panel. This is one of the best engineering panels I've ever seen, because it's actually scrolling text and I mean, it's all jibber jabber, of course, apart from that big fault message that keeps coming up, and it's quite worrying. But engineering in the future, if we get displays like that through the ships, that's going to be amazing. Again, we have another bin here. For some reason, I cannot open it, and I cannot open this panel. We have an air vent down here, air conditioning, or whatever it might be, which is really nice. 2 more things here that I cannot seem to open, so again, it's kind of annoying. No weapon racks that I've found in this ship. And then we have these really cool sort of cylinders down here. No idea what they're for. I'm sure they do something important, and I'm sure that is pretty much it. So we'll hop in the cockpit. One of the quickest turning seats in the game, in my opinion. Okay, now we're in the cockpit. Very good fields of view. The only field of view which suffers would be your 6 o'clock, the rear position. It is blocked, of course, by the rest of the ship, but all the MFDs, nice and easy to read. It's a HOSAS system, not a HOTAS. You've got the rudder pedals at the bottom. Obviously, they're not for the rudders, though. We have the various, everything you would expect to find on the ship. Ejection button, obviously, I do not wish to push that right now. So, yeah. But it's more sort of, look at the weathering and detail of the cockpit, right? It's an old ship. You get that feeling. It's been around. It's done what it needs to do. Everything's at your fingertips. It's very nicely laid out, easy to read. Yeah, no complaints from me regarding the interior of this ship and the cockpit. So there we are. Exit seat and exit ship. Excellent visibility. You can't complain, and that's very important on a bounty hunting ship. Being able to track your target without getting struts and things in the way is obviously going to be an added bonus. So the Avenger Stalker is quickly becoming one of my favourite vessels at the moment, and I've only had limited time in it. So who might this ship be for? Well, almost certainly it's going to be a very useful beginner ship, because it allows you to do your box missions. It has a bed for you to log in and out. With the right equipment, I'm sure it will have the range. It's got the proven pedigree. It's more than capable in a dogfight. It's got numerous weapon systems you can fit to it. You know, there's a lot going for this ship. It's easy to handle. It flies nicely. It's very, very versatile in some of the roles it can do, and especially for someone that wants to make money, the best way to do that is normally, and the easiest way to do that, is through bounty hunting. So why not take an Avenger, if you're new, around the verse? Because I honestly can't see any downsides to this. And as I said before, I think as bounty hunting develops, and we're able to capture particular targets, then these ships, the Stalker, the Cutlass Blue, you know, the Mantis, although that doesn't have any holding cells, the Warlock, and the fact that this ship could even have modularity is going to be excellent. Being able to swap out certain areas of the ship to help you fulfill your dream of capturing multiple prisoners and making a lot of money, then the Avenger is almost certainly for you. Also, I think that this is a very rugged ship as well, and I believe that when we get armor in the game, the armor on this ship is going to be fairly respectable, so it will be able to take quite a lot of punishment in terms of its size compared to something like a Drake Buccaneer that will break instantly, or the Banu Defender. So there is a lot going for this ship, and really it rests with what direction CIG take bounty hunting, but I'm sure they're going to take it to a good place, and I think it's going to be an amazing scenario to fly this and capture some people. So there we go, guys, that was my video on the Avenger Stalker. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what buttons to press, and I of course will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location very soon. Cheers.